So Julio has been a software developer for over 40 years now in many languages and environment, and he's working at SkunkWerks at the moment in Canada.
Good afternoon. Sorry for the delay getting set up here. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks for Chemaxon to allow me to come here and present what we've been doing with their product. SkunkWerks is a software company based in Vancouver, Canada, and we are basically a business development software house. We develop applications for different business, including some chemistry-related or chemical-related applications. We are not chemists or chem informatics. Have no one that's Turek chem informatics in-house. We are software developers per se, and we just happen to do some chemistry-related stuff. And for that we use the expertise from Chemaxon with their toolkit. Basically, I'll just describe what our context, what we were aiming for, what we were developing, why we chose the platform we chose, and why we chose Chemaxon, and why web services. And if I have time, I'll do have some demo of what we are doing. First, a little bit of history. We had a customer had a project we were developing for a research agency in Vancouver, which were doing basically trying to kickstart the biotech industry, which was very productive in Vancouver years ago, and then sort of like went down the drain with nothing new coming up from all the research being done. So this agency was set up to try to kickstart the biotech industry back in Vancouver. And they came to us to develop our project management. So we were just handling the whole operation of that agency. And one of the things they provide for all the researchers in the province is a screening facilities and tools for the researchers. They were using ChemOffice, or they were planning on using ChemOffice, and we needed to integrate that with the rest of the application. That proved impossible. We couldn't get it to tie to our application, where ChemOffice would not easily integrate with anything else. And then we came up with the Chemaxon toolkit, which was very easy to interface to, and was a very open architecture that we could use. And as I said, we're not chemists, and so we leave all the chemistry stuff to Chemaxon. We just interface with all the JChem search and all the chemistry-related functions from Chemaxon to our database, to our application. So basically, we provide the glue between the user interface, all the chemistry-related stuff, and the back-end application. So the key feature and the initial key request was to implement a substructure searching, which I beginning had no idea what that meant. Up until last year, I was in the Chemaxon conference in San Diego. There are a ton of words that I had no idea what that meant and had never heard in my life. And a lot of new words I heard today as well. So that just proves that after being, as I said, was being 40 years in doing software development, so much stuff you don't know. That's, as you get older, you come to realize that the stuff you know is so little, and there's so much to learn. So we need to implement that search capability over a couple of different modules. So they need to have a screening functionality. They had their own registration procedure, so we need to implement structure searching into their registration process. And also they had their reagent inventory. They wanted to be able to do queries and searches for reagents as well using the same tools, the same interface. So we were able to use Chemaxon's web services and create components that would talk to Chemaxon web services, and we use those components across different areas of the application. And one of the requirements is that the solution had to be web-based. There's no thick client used throughout the application. Everything is web-based and should be available campus-wide. One of the reasons we chose Adobe Flex as our rich internet application framework because it was already being used. It was the larger application was developed using Adobe Flex as the front end framework. And well, Flex is fairly easy to implement web services into Flex. It's sort of like a first class citizen SOAP and web services, as well as XML, which is in Flex is considered a native data type. Why we went to JChem Base and JChem Web Services? For one thing, we're already using Marvin for structure design, and we were already using the Marvin sketch for designing structures. And well, as I said, web services almost native in Flex, so it was natural to go through web services instead of implementing our own interface between our application and JChem Base. And web service was ready, available, easy to plug into our main application. It was sort of like a natural solution. So basically, what we have the CDRD is the customer, the client in question. They have their own. We have our own database managing the whole application, like project management, address book, everything. It's not an ERP kind of application, but it is more of an operation type of application. And we have the web server, which is basically serving all the web applications, which are, in our case, are Flex applications. And we keep our all the compounds, the compound library registrations are kept in our database, and that's replicated into JChem Base, which we use for searching. And then we use JChem Web Services to interface through JChem Base and our Flex application. I'll get to the demo later. Just a little bit behind the scenes. Looks like there are many servers at play. So there's this database server and the web server, and then JChem server, which is basically you have the JChem Base plus Tomcat, which provides JChem Web Services. Maybe overwhelming at first, but that's like JChem service can be thought of as a unit. You just install it and boom, it's ready to use, which comes with Tomcat built in. So part of the installation, so there's not much to do here. And in our case, our database and web server were already in place. So there was nothing new to build there. We just had to build the glue between our database, the JChem server and JChem Web Services. The database, as I said, we keep a copy of our, when the users enter, register a new compound, or when they purchase compounds from a vendor, from a supplier, that gets into our database for inventory management and that sort of thing. And the SDFs and the structures are also kept in the database, the compounds, and the SDF files are sent to JChem Base. That was a change from what we used to do at the beginning. At the beginning, we were using smiles for doing this synchronization, and we learned from the guys at Chemaxon that we were missing stuff by using smiles for the synchronization between the databases. And now we are using full SD files on both sides. And JChem Base allows you to have your own custom fields. And we use a foreign key in JChem's database that links back to our database. That's how we link both applications. So basically the flow, it looks like you will not be able to read what is in the black background. Basically we got new compounds, be it by registering or the registration from the researchers or compounds coming from a vendor library. We get the SDFs from the vendors or the structure that was designed using Marvin Sketch from the researchers. That gets input into our library, our own internal library, gets added to the database. And then we send the same SD files to JChem Base, so we keep a copy. And actually during this process, we use duplicate searches and everything before adding to JChem, before adding to the database. Duplicate search is done through JChem Base. So we first check if that compound exists in the database, especially on the new registrations. If it's existing in the database, we actually query JChem Base for duplicates or structure search, substructure searches, or similarity before adding to the database. And basically how it's done in the application. So we have our search component, which has a Marvin sketch built into the web page, where you can draw your structure, import, load from a file, or even allow you to type. If you know your smiles or smarts, you can actually type smiles and smarts or paste on a field. And then we run the search. So the search actually calls a web service from JChem. It's a single call, one call. We send in the SD mol file that comes from the Marvin sketch. We send that to one call, a JChem Web Service, which is called a run complete search. That's the call, the web service call. And we get a list of results. That list of results includes our own foreign key, which allows us to then map back to our database and bring up any of the extra information we are providing to users. So what I'm going to show you guys on a screening, on our screening application, screening module, what we are bringing back is screening results. So all the projects, if that compound is being used in more than one project, or more than one, they call it screening libraries, which may be used by different projects. They're internal screening libraries. We report which libraries it's being used and what are the results from the screening search, like primary search, secondary search, and all the each phases of the screening process. We show them the results that are pulled out from our screening database. And the link is all done via that foreign key, linking the JChem database and our database. And we use JChem Web Service also to pull the actual structure design. So we use JChem Web Service when we get the structure ID and the result from the search. We call back web services to actually draw each of the molecules, the structure image. And besides just pulling information, we also use the web services we use nowadays a lot more than we used to in the past. So we started just using structure search. That was our initial approach. Now we use for getting properties, getting a bunch of information, and we use JChem Web Service actually to generate the structure image we keep a copy of the images in PNG format inside the database for quick display in other places of the application. So that image is, we get the SD file from a vendor, we just submit the SD file to JChem Web Service and get me the image. Just one call to JChem Web Service, say, get me the PNG for that compound. And we get the compound name. They standardize in keeping the IUPAC name in the database as well. Same thing, we call JChem Web Service to calculate for us the IUPAC name, because not all vendors provide the IUPAC name in their SD files or in the files they send to us. And well, we also use that for calculating some other stuff like formula, molecular weight. And the smarts, as we keep in our database a hash of the smarts that we use for very quick initial queries. If is it a really duplicate? If the smarts hash matches our database, we don't even try to look into JChem Base for duplicate search or similarity search, because we know it's an exact match to the compound we have in our database. Basically, that's how we are using JChem Web Services. I'm going to try to do a quick demo here. Here I have already done a search, but basically, when you call it substructure search, you get a Marvin sketch right on the page. We had experimented our initial solution. We had a button here on the page that the guy would have to click to if they wanted to bring up the Marvin, and the user said, why do I have to do 2 clicks? When I click search and get the Marvin, I draw my molecule, I do my search, run my search. Then I can select the projects I'm searching through. In this case, this is for the screening module. So I can select to do my, get the results from JChem, from this query, only that apply to a specific project that I'm tracking, or I can search for across all projects. As I said, we query JChem, we get the link into the compound in our database. Then we use that link, that foreign key coming from JChem, to query our screening database. And the user can filter that screening query based on some on the projects they are actually tracking, and we can add additional query fields by compound name, by plate, their internal plate, their vendor plate, the vendor ID, the internal IDs, a couple other metadata that we keep in our database. So let me just get one molecule here. So here it got 11 compounds in the database which have a oops. Looks like JChem just went down on me. Just so I can get it going in 1 second here. It's not loading the structures? Okay, don't worry. Let me try a similarity search here. Yeah, no, it's JChem just went down, the JChem Web Services. Let's see if this is JJAX demo, see if it's running. If it runs, I run. Yeah, okay. Okay, I get it. So the image is actually being pulled out from JChem Web Services via a GSP call. And let me go switch to the form view here. So basically we are just showing, will be the result from the primary screening tests, retest primary, counter screen, and secondary, the 4 screening runs. That will be the result numbers. And I think if I do a similarity search in this one, I got some better numbers, I guess. No, this I got only one. Yeah, here I got 201 compounds from JChem, and now I'm looking through my screening database, and everything that gets a darker background means this is above the cutoff value set up for that project in that primary screen. So, and user can always double click here and get the detail of that compound, which project is being used, if it's used in more than one project. If it's using multiple libraries, what libraries it's being used, and what's the result from each screening library, and some other metadata associated with the compound itself. Enough of the demo. Well, first, we got a very good response from the client. We're pretty happy with the solution and what the approach, and pretty happy with the results they got from using the Chemaxon tools and with the interface we put up on top of that. And we are now discussing with a couple other customers in Canada which are interested in this, in a similar solution. And I would just like to say we got pretty good technical support from Chemaxon in trying to solve our initial doubts and questions on how to get this implemented and be able to get this up and running. And we're pretty happy with what we got at the end. I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. So, because you were quick, I think we have time only for one quick question, and then coffee break is coming. If not, please, yeah, okay.
I saw that you had plate and well information on the demo. Was that information you put into the JChem database, or was that in
our database?
Okay, yeah. In the database.
CDRD database. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And when do you use that as a query feature in the application?
we allow them to query or to filter onto a plate or a specific well.
Okay.
Plate well.
Okay, and then that queries the CDRD database first.
Yes. Yeah.
Or in conjunction with it.
Yeah, we get a result set from a for example, substructure search or a similarity search. We got a result set from JChem, and then we filter that through our database. Based on the screening project you're filtering through, or if you're filtering by a plate or well or for a specific vendor, based on your other filtering information, we use the JChem's result set to apply that filter against our database. So we combine both.